just typical, isn't it? I mean, just when your life's going really well, that's when your parents decide it's time to move.
You don't think there's any chance your mom will change her mind? Decide she doesn't want this transfer after all?
Not a chance in the world. A move to the head office, vice president in charge of marketing. She's really excited. And I guess I can't blame her.
What if your dad changes his mind? I mean, since it means quitting his job and everything.
We talked about that last night. He doesn't feel great, but he's willing to do it for Mom's sake. He called the real estate agent this morning to put the house up for sale. So that's that.
So, where does that leave us?
I don't want to lose you.
And I don't want to lose you, but...
Then we'll find a way to keep a relationship together.
Matt, that's really easy to say. But it's not like you're moving across town. You're moving halfway across the country. How can we keep anything together?
So does that mean we shouldn't even try?
I'm not saying that. Not exactly. It's just, we've got to face a few facts. How often could we see each other? Maybe once, twice a year? What sort of relationship would that be?
I don't know, but it would be a lot better than never seeing each other at all. Right?
Hi, guys.
What's up?
I was just over at Dylan's place.
Yeah. We heard someone robbed the cafe.
Swiped $50 from the till while Dylan was in charge.
Oh, no.
It gets worse. Dylan's meeting with the manager this afternoon, and he's gonna have to tell him that he wasn't even there at the time. That he ducked out for half an hour and left Billy in charge.
Billy doesn't even work there.
That's why the manager's gonna be so happy to hear about it.
You think Dylan's gonna get fired?
I guess we've just gotta be hopeful, right? Even if there isn't much to be hopeful about. It's just so lousy. Dylan was really getting his life together.
Well, he hasn't been fired yet, so maybe it'll still work out.
Yeah, maybe.
But, listen, does Dylan have any clue who it might have been?
The rotten sneaking jerk who stole the money? But I'll tell you something. I'd sure love to find out.
I just don't believe this. How did it happen?
That's what we've got to try to figure out. Look, I'm almost sure the money was still there when I left, which means it must have been swiped while you were there.
What makes you so sure of that?
I'm not sure. I'm just saying that's what it looks like. So try and think. Was there anyone hanging around?
No, it's like I've already said.
Someone who might have snuck in while you were busy.
But I wasn't busy. Hardly anyone came in at all, and I was there the whole time, except for maybe 2 minutes.
What do you mean, except for 2 minutes?
Okay, I saw Roxanne over at the clothing store, so I just went over to say hi.
Oh, great.
But I wasn't there 2 minutes even. More like 30 seconds. And I could see the cafe the whole time.
How could you see the cafe if you're gazing at Roxanne?
I wasn't gazing at her. Look, nobody snuck into the cafe while I was gone.
How can you be so sure?
Well, because I am.
In other words, you're saying there's only 2 people who had a chance to rob the till. You and me.
Well, I sure know I didn't do it.
And I didn't do it either.
Hang on. Are you saying you don't believe me?
I'm not saying anything like that. I'm just saying it doesn't look too good for either one of us right now.
You don't believe me, do you?
I just told you
Hey,
that...
thanks for being such a pal.
Billy!
When a crime gets committed, you just have to work through it logically.
If you had an accent, you'd sound just like Sherlock Holmes.
So, we look at the facts. As far as we know, there are 2 people who were alone in the cafe at various times. Dylan and Billy, which means there are 3 possibilities.
How did 2 people add up to 3 possibilities?
1, Billy stole the money.
Which he wouldn't do.
2, Dylan stole the money.
Which he wouldn't do.
Or 3, Billy and Dylan conspired together to steal the money.
Oh, come on.
Jason's right. I know both of those guys. And neither one of them would do something like that.
And I'll bet Al Capone had school friends who said exactly the same thing about him.
Give it up.
Both of them had an excellent chance to steal the money, if they wanted to.
Exactly. And we all know that. So even if they wanted to, They wouldn't be stupid enough to try.
That's what I'm not so sure of. I don't know about Dylan, but Billy isn't exactly a rocket scientist.
He's also a good guy.
Well, there'll be a lot of older guys on the soccer team, but I still think I've got a pretty good chance.
So you're gonna try out?
Oh, sure. Soccer's my best sport.
Same here.
You play soccer?
Yeah, I played double-A soccer last year, midfield.
Hey, that's my position.
We had a really good year. The team made it to the finals, and I came first in scoring.
You must be pretty good.
Well, that was only double-A. I wish I had a chance to play for the school.
Yeah, it's too bad Hillside doesn't have a girls' team.
Exactly. How come it's always the guys supposed to get all the attention?
Well, that's probably because girls have better things to worry about. You know, like doing their hair.
Ooh.
That is, when they're not doing brain surgery or running billion-dollar corporations.
Nice save, Micah. So, with all this going on, have you had a chance to talk to Dylan? You know, about where you guys are?
Yeah. We had that little talk just before we found out about the money.
So what'd you decide?
Well, turns out Dylan isn't completely sure how he feels. He needs some time.
So did you tell him how you feel?
Are you kidding? How was I supposed to do that? No. I just told him I felt pretty much the way he does.
So in other words, you lied.
Right. So I guess we're trying to go back to being friends again.
How does that feel?
Lousy. Totally lousy. But what am I supposed to do?
Maybe he'll decide he does feel the same way you do.
Maybe he will. And if he doesn't, then I'll just deal with it. Hey, on top of everything else, I'm sure finding out some things about myself. I always figured I was totally in control of my emotions. You know, that I could cope with anything that came along. And now, all of a sudden,
I know what you mean. Boy, do I know what you mean. I thought I had things under control.
what are you talking about?
Oh, just one of those small problems that come up every once in a while. That's moving.
They're buying a new house?
Yep. And unfortunately, it's about 2,000 miles away from here.
You've got to be kidding.
Yeah, it came as a surprise to me, too. Guess what, son? Start packing.
Your parents didn't even ask your opinion?
Well, it all happened so quickly, they didn't really have a chance.
But still, I mean, you'd want to be in on the decision.
Well, I guess I do have a choice in a way. I could choose to go quietly, or I could get dragged along, kicking and screaming.
Now I'm gonna really miss having you around.
Not half as much as I'm gonna miss being here.
So what about Ashley?
Hey, you guys want to hear something really incredible?
Well, as a matter of
Then
fact...
just listen to this. I went over to Dylan's place before school, right? Well, first he dumps all over me because I left the cafe for like 15 seconds. Then, he actually accuses me of stealing the money.
He what?
Well, okay, maybe he didn't actually accuse me, but he made this big point saying that we were the only ones who could have done it.
I'm sure he probably didn't mean it to sound quite that way.
Hey, I was there, you weren't.
Oh, come on, I mean, he can't actually suspect you.
Well, he sure better not. Besides, there's two ways of looking at this, right? After I left his place, I started thinking about that. If Dylan says it had to be either him or me, well, I sure know I didn't do it.
Whoa. Slow down here, Billy.
Hey, I'm just making the point. And since Dylan was the one who brought it up...
Billy, you can't be thinking that Dylan stole the money himself.
Okay, fair enough. I don't really believe that.
Exactly.
But all the same, I do wish I could be sure.
Hey, what are you doing?
What does it look like?
Did you see the manager?
Yeah.
So what happened?
Well, put it this way. I've got some good news and, some not so good news. The good news is, he's not gonna phone the police and have me charged with theft.
But you didn't steal anything.
Right. That's why it's the good news. As far as the not so good news is concerned, well, for starters, I've been fired.
Oh, no.
He's holding me responsible for the money, so he's taking it out of my last paycheck.
I just don't believe it.
Hey, wait, it gets better. When I got home, both my parents were here, so I told them the whole story. Turns out they figure I did steal the money, and I'm just trying to lie my way out of it.
That couldn't have meant that.
Yeah, well, we never did get along too well. Ever since I dropped out of school, it's been even worse. So anyway, we had this huge fight. And it looks like I don't live here anymore.
They kicked you out?
Not exactly. We, kind of came to a mutual agreement at like 400 decibels.
Oh, Dylan.
Look, I just need a little space right now, okay?
But where are you gonna live?
I'll figure something out.
But you can't just...
Please, I know you're only trying to help, but, I just need to be alone right now, okay? I just gotta try and get my head straight.
I'll see you later. And if you need anything at all, Dylan, just call me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just not fair, is it?
Of course it isn't.
Girls' sports should be just as important as guy sports.
Well, absolutely.
Then why aren't they?
I don't know. And I don't know what you're glaring at me for. I mean, I didn't cause the problem.
I'm not saying you did. I'm just glaring in general, because it really bugs me.
Well, of course it does.
I mean, I really like playing soccer, but Hillside doesn't have a girls' team. So what do they expect me to do?
I'm not sure. I guess... maybe they just didn't think about it.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to try out for the boys' team.
Hi, Chris. How's it going?
Same as usual. Why?
No particular reason. Just thought I'd ask.
I'm fine.
Things still the same at home? I mean, any chance your dad's gonna change his mind and move back?
I should have never told you in the first place.
I wasn't trying to pry or anything. I was just wondering.
He hasn't changed his mind as far as I know. Of course, why would he talk to me about it anyway?
That's really lousy. I guess things are pretty lousy for a lot of people, huh?
Like who?
Well, like Billy and Dylan. I mean, the whole school is wondering whether one of them stole that money.
And I'm supposed to care about this?
Well, I just thought...
If you want my opinion, those guys are both jerks. If they've got themselves into a jam, then, well, it doesn't bother me a whole lot.
You mean... you think one of them did steal the money?
How should I know? Look, why are we even talking about this? Ask your boyfriend, maybe he cares.
What was that all about?
Oh, nothing really.
When I woke up this morning, you know, for the first few seconds, I honestly didn't remember. It felt like just any old morning. And then bang. Oh yeah, hold everything. We're not going to be living here much longer.
Matt, couldn't we talk about something else? I mean, you're moving. We both know that. But do we have to go on and on about it?
But we have to talk about it. I mean, we can't just pretend it isn't going to happen.
I know that.
We have to find a way for us to stay together.
How? Are you going to stay behind and rent an apartment?
Of course not. I mean, I have to go with my parents, but...
Exactly. So how can we stay together? Matt, I've been going over it and over it ever since you told me. But what can we do? We're 15 years old. We can't exactly fly back and forth every weekend.
I know that.
I mean, sure, we can talk about having a long-distance relationship, but how can we ever make it work if we're never going to see each other?
So what are you saying?
Matt, you said something this morning. Seeing each other a couple times a year would be better than never seeing each other at all. I'm not so sure I believe that.
Oh, come on.
What? A couple weeks in the summer, maybe a few days over Easter? Then we get to spend the rest of the year missing each other? What kind of relationship would that be?
But if we don't want to lose each other, then...
Matt, we are going to lose each other. That's what's going to happen, no matter how hard we try to pretend.
So what does that mean? We should just give up now and say so long? Ashley.
Matt, I don't want to break up with you. But you're moving. If it's going to happen anyway, maybe we should just do it now.
You want us to stop seeing each other?
No. No, of course we still see each other. It's just... Matt, I love you. But that's just why I don't think I can cope. I mean, pretending to hang on when we both know you're moving away forever.
Look, there's something I've been starting to wonder. I haven't exactly been wondering, but, well, I haven't been losing sleep or anything, but it has crossed my mind, so...
Dave, if you've got a question, why don't you just ask it?
Is there something going on between you and Chris?
Chris McDonald?
Look, if I'm way out of line, just tell me.
How could you even think that?
It's just that the two of you have been spending a lot of time together all of a sudden. And I just had to ask.
Dave, there's nothing going on between me and Chris. That's just stupid.
Well, you told me to ask, and you said you wouldn't get mad.
And if I have been spending a little time with him, well, hasn't it crossed your mind that I might just be a little worried?
About Chris?
I already told you. About his dad moving out and everything.
Well, yeah, I knew about that.
So I figured the guy might need someone to talk to.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said anything. Just forget I even mentioned it.
I spend 2 minutes talking to another guy, and you start getting jealous? You know something? That's really dumb. But it's also kind of sweet.
So here you are. I've been looking all over for you guys.
Well, it's not exactly us guys right now. Just me.
Where's Ashley?
Well, I'm not sure exactly. I think she went home.
Is everything okay?
Oh, yeah, sure. It's fine.
Well, listen, things are totally not okay with Dylan. I went over to see him at lunch.
Oh, man, don't tell me you got fired.
And he also got kicked out of his house.
What?
Some huge argument with his parents. I'm not sure exactly. But he doesn't even have a place to live. So what is he gonna do, sleep on a park bench?
Well, where is he now?
I'm not sure. Maybe still at the garage. But Matt, we've got to do something to help him. I just don't have any idea what.
I think I'd better go try and find him.
What do you want?
Just thought I'd drop by. Horseman told me what happened. To tell you the truth, I haven't had the greatest day either. I'm not completely sure, but I think Ashley just dumped me.
You're not serious.
I just found out yesterday, my family's moving. So I think Ashley figures if it's gonna end anyways, might as well end it now.
Hey, well, that's pretty awful.
Still, not as bad as what happened to you. Look, for what it's worth, I know you didn't take the money.
For what it's worth. Thanks.
So what are you gonna do now? I mean, where are you gonna stay?
Look, it's my business, and I don't feel like answering a bunch of stupid questions right now. So why don't you just leave, okay?
Well, if you need a place to crash, I've got a rec room. I'm moving in a couple weeks, but you can stay till then.
What, you're saying I should come live with you?
I'm saying you've got to live somewhere, since you don't really have anywhere else. Look, I know I wouldn't exactly be your first choice in roommates, but if it comes down to a choice between sleeping on my couch or sleeping in a cardboard box in a back alley somewhere. So what do you think?
I think that's the weirdest thing I've ever heard.
Chris,
How's it going?
about the same as it was an hour ago.
Just passing by and saw you here, so... Seen Billy or Dylan around?
Not lately.
Gee, I'd have figured you'd have gone looking for them. I mean, seeing as how concerned you were.
Well, of course it bothers me that they're both in the middle of a great big mess.
Oh, come on. It's like I said, those guys are both jerks.
No, they're not.
Hey, listen, if I tell you something, do you think you could keep it a secret?
What is it?
Never mind that. Just answer the question. If I tell you, will you promise not to tell anyone else?
Well,
Do you promise or don't you?
okay, I promise. So what is it? Something about your dad?
Nope. It's about the $50 that got swiped from the cafe. I was the one who stole it. You gave me your word. Sinead can't tell anyone. Anyone.